Business class upgrade if there is room, by user Northwest_Passage_. I used to work at a regional airline. The jet we used for our flight to the big city had 6 business class seats. The business class service was really good for a 2-hour flight. It included a full bar service, a hot meal, warmed bread basket, followed by a trolley with dessert and signature coffee. The good old days. One of our regular travelers was a local business owner who was just a slimy businessman, SB. He had a reputation for making a lot of money from some pretty shady deals over the years. We would roll our eyes when we saw him coming to the check-in counter because he would always name drop and ask for special treatment. He always used the business class check-in line even though he was usually in economy. He didn't have frequent flyer status, but he was buddies with one of the airline executives and always let us know this fact when he checked in by making sure to tell us that he was good friends with Vice President Karen. He would always ask for free upgrades, extra baggage, not charging a change fee, last-minute discounts, etc. If he didn't get what he wanted, he immediately called VP Karen, who would usually then call us and approve whatever it was he wanted. So one day SB checks in for his flight to the big city and of course name drops and asks for a free upgrade to business class because I'm friends with VP Karen and said it would be okay. He was traveling on a discounted ticket that was not eligible for upgrade even if he did have an upgrade coupon, which he didn't. I informed him that he was not eligible for any upgrade on this ticket and gave him his boarding pass and sent him on his way. Of course he flips open his cell phone and immediately calls VP Karen. Within 2 minutes the phone at the check-in desk rings and it's VP Karen authorizing me to override the policy to upgrade SB to business class with no upgrade coupon required if there is room. The flight that day wasn't that busy and only one person booked in business class, leaving 5 open seats. I was really irritated, but I begrudgingly put SB on the upgrade list anyways. He returned to the check-in counter and picked up his standby boarding card and gave me that smug told you so look. But then what VP Karen said clicked with me, if there is room. The next passenger I checked in was a super nice lady, big smile, friendly, please and thank you, oh thank you so much for checking my bags to my connecting flight, that's so nice of you. I was taking my time and we were chatting a bit since it wasn't that busy. She was a teacher going on a trip to see her family and it was her first visit with them in over a year and was going to meet her new little nephew for the first time. She was overjoyed just to have the time off to travel. I typed in a few things into the computer to make it look like I was checking something about her connecting flights and then said, "Oh, you have been selected today to receive a free upgrade to business class." She was shocked. I've never flown business class in my life. This is so amazing. At that time we were rarely questioned if we upgraded someone without a certificate. Over the next 20 minutes I found excuses to upgrade 4 other passengers, one who worked for one of our top corporate accounts, one who was legitimately a frequent flyer, can't remember the other reasons, but by the time I went to board the flight I had to tell SB that I was sorry but business class was full and couldn't offer him an upgrade today. The teacher I upgraded profusely thanked me again when she boarded with the rest of the business class passengers. Little did she know that it really made my day also. Guess we'll have the coffee, by user Lilith17. My sister just reminded me about this story, it takes place in 2017. I'm on mobile, forgive any formatting errors, but definitely come at me for spelling mistakes. She and I were out for brunch and had a lovely time at an upscale rooftop restaurant in the heart of our city. You know, the kind with a full setting, cloth napkins, and white tablecloth. The kind where a pancake entree has the word melange and mimosas are $16. We had a great time even though the service was a little rushed, we get it, Saturday brunch means a lot of tables with a speedy turnover. My sister had been a waitress all through college, we even joked about her applying for the weekend shifts since she'd make great tips. When it came time to settle the check, we noticed we had been charged for 2 coffees, which we didn't order nor receive. While handing the bill back, I asked that they be taken off. Waiter, well, you got coffee. Me, I'm sorry, we actually didn't. See? Shows him the pristine empty coffee cups. Waiter, no, there's 2 coffee cups on the table. Me, there are coffee cups on every table. At this point he kind of huffs and rolls his eyes, and says he doesn't have the authority to remove anything from the bill. Before I can ask for someone who can, he smirks and says the manager on duty just went on break and we'd have to wait 30 minutes for her, but he'd be asking us to wait at the host stand since they need the table. My sister and I look at each other and we both get the same idea. Sister, well, okay. Guess if we're being charged for coffee, I'd like a refill. Me, oh, for me too. And can you bring cream and sugar? It was at this moment he knew he fucked up. We spent another 20 minutes sipping coffee and keeping him from turning the table. We asked for refills once, and I asked if they had any raw sugar packets. By the end of it he was pointedly ignoring us. We kinda giggled about it, and I made a very dramatic show of flourishing my card, putting it in the booklet, and setting it upright. My sister even tried to flag him down but he refused to look in our direction. We finished and hung around until he came back with his manager. He was smirking again. Big lips, that guy. I have to say that facial expression stayed with me. Waiter, sickly sweet. Okay, you two, we have a seating time limit to allow our other guests the opportunity to eat with us. Will that be all today? Me, well, we've been waiting for you to take our check. I was trying to get your attention earlier, but you must have been busy. I offer him my card and the booklet, and I've never seen a human turn red so quickly. He mutters that he'll be right back and marches off to run it. While we were waiting, the manager asked us about our experience. We said we both had a great time, and we'd be back, and relayed what happened. At least we ended up enjoying the coffee. We paid, left a decent tip, and skedaddled. But it felt good knowing he probably cost himself a ticket's worth of tips over $9 in coffee. Leaving on time, by user Stunticonsfan. I wish I had been the person practicing malicious compliance here, but it was one of my colleagues, Stephen. I worked night shift at the testing site for a major medical laboratory network. The shift was busy because patients' specimens were collected at service centers during the day, and couriers would bring all these specimens to the testing site, starting in the evening and continuing well into the night. My shift ended at 7 a.m., when the day staff would arrive and take over the analyzers. So the night shift supervisor had told me that if any couriered shipments arrived after 6 a.m., I should leave them for the day shift to do, because at 6, I needed to do end-run quality control on the analyzers, clean them, and file my paperwork. No time to start running a late batch of specimens and we wouldn't get overtime for staying late to do those. But the day shift supervisor, Lily, didn't like it when samples were left for her staff to process, and she told me that I should be more efficient and get them done, somehow. Then one morning she made a mistake. Instead of me on the night shift, it was Stephen. Lily came in at about 6:30, at the same time that a large batch of late specimens was dropped off. Stephen, you have to process those, she said to him. Stephen didn't argue. He loaded all the specimens on the analyzers. And then, at exactly 7 a.m., he quietly went home. The day shift is typically busy at the start so no one noticed that he had gone at first. Then the analyzers started producing results, flagging problematic specimens and so on, and everyone was searching for him. Had he gone to the washroom? Had he said anything to anyone? Where was the paperwork? What needed to be done now? Everyone was confused, and the situation created far more work than if the day shift had simply taken over from the start. Lily hated Stephen after that. But she never again told him to process late specimens either. Customers always right, by user lady_love. So I work as a minimum wage cashier at a discount store. I see a lot of people in a day, especially people who know how to do my job better than me, due to their lack of experience and profound understanding that my job is the easiest in the world. Now I always shut that shit down, in the classic corporate happy public service employee way. Well, actually it makes it a little easier this way, but thank you so much for helping. Like I'm talking a toddler down from an upcoming tantrum, but I don't leave room for arguing. It's almost like I'm playing a character honestly. It works for me. But I never just let someone do something stupid, like letting them walk out with a bag too heavy without double bagging it, or letting them leave putting their receipt in their bag if it looks like they might want to return it. But not today. It's Saturday, so it's busy. All day as I would finally get a minute to get my other work done, someone would come up taking forever to consider the impulse buys while I'm stuck waiting for them at the register getting nothing done. This woman did that, but twice. She got up there, pondered for a minute, got a line behind her, decided to go look at something else. I'm stuck with this line till just before she gets back and ponders again before finally getting to me. She's your average-looking middle-aged soccer mom. But already she's getting on my nerves, but hey, it's Saturday, every customer gets on my nerves, so whatever. She's got a lot of larger but lightweight items with some smaller items, like bags of candy and socks. So I'm getting half of it in one large bag, half of it in another large bag. So I go to get the second bag, handing her the first one when she goes, "No, I don't want a lot of bags, you can fit the rest in there, it's fine, you should ask before getting more bags, it's your job to do things how the customers want and asking. Otherwise you should just know to do one bag if you can. It's wasteful. I only want one bag. And I thought to myself, wow, it sounds like she's never done retail a day in her life, she must know what she's doing. Now it's also worth noting she had a few heavier items, not many, but a few. They were glass jars of sauces with lots of pigment and staining properties. It's also worth mentioning she was getting some chips that came in bags with pointy sharper edges that eat bags for breakfast. The bag gets too heavy and they press into the sides at any angle and that bag's toast. It's also worth mentioning she was getting several white clothes made of very stainable material. Nice clothes, she said they were for an important party she had to go to that night, bragging. Normally I would double bag, which would keep the sharp corners in check. But she was right. She only wanted one bag, so that must be all she needs. So I get the glass jars in with the clothes, nested in there nicely spaced out where they wouldn't hit each other with clothes between them, and the bags on top spread around the top so it was easier to lift the bag. Just like she wanted. That damn bag was already looking like it would bust wide open any second when she took it from the counter. Luckily, a line hadn't formed behind her yet. Just someone looking the impulse buys over, so I couldn't really step away but nothing to do but watch where I had a clear view of the parking lot. I watched as she struggled out the two front doors, no automatic, got 1/4 of the way to her car when the bag bust. Glass and sauce everywhere, sad she had like $15 worth, about 5 jars. She struggled to force them back into the bag, hoping she could at least pile them in her arms with the bag holding it together, trying not to cut herself on the glass she had wrapped up. It broke some more. She tried to salvage it and balance it back up. Failed, gave up, grabbed as much of an armful as she could, had to take like 5 trips her blouse and pants, ruined. Hey! Maybe after over a year and a half of cashiering nearly every day, I know what I'm doing. Shocker. Edit, due to multiple complaints about spelling and grammar mistakes, I fixed. No need to thank me, grammar police. Bleeding IT dry. MC in the Print Hub, by user Cole Carmit. I currently work in a print hub and mentioned in a previous post that malicious compliance kind of just comes with the job. Here is another one that I just learned the outcome for this week. I had been on medical leave for quite some time. During that time, a number of systems and programs we used changed. In particular, our online systems for business cards and similar products had changed. The way the system was before my leave was that when a customer uploaded the file, the system would slightly stretch the file to include a bleed. If a file was submitted with a bleed, nothing would be done. For those not in the know, a bleed on a print file is an excess of the image in the design that is meant to be cut off. Most business cards have colored blocking for style, and this ensures that there is no ugly, uneven white edge on the finished product. Essentially, it allows the customer to get what they envision. Astute readers would realize our old system could cause issues, however, especially when writing or images are close to borders. Information could be cut off due to being over the bleed line after the image was stretched. As such, we as workers knew that a change was going to happen. This change happened during my medical leave, as the online system was updated to allow more customizations. When customers uploaded files, they were presented with a digital canvas where they could change their text and images on their file. 2 boxes were presented on this canvas, one box showing the finished size of the product, and one showing the bleed we needed to ensure a proper cut. The problem is, the system no longer automatically stretched the provided file to the finished size, and certainly not to the bleed size. The new system allows customers to properly fit themselves, but rarely do they size it to bleed. As such, when we print and cut the finished product, there is often this ugly white band on 2 of the sides. As the cutting system is all automated, and without those bleeds there were always problems. Additionally, our large guillotine cutter is constantly in use for orders that need it, and to reprogram it and interrupt orders to trim a millimeter off every order was unreasonable. My manager, who will be named D, brought this to the attention of the system admins and IT, but was pretty much dismissed. He was told to push those orders that did not have bleed into problem status, and they would take a look at the problem. Also to send a list of problem orders still not handled at the end of each week. When I returned to work 3 months ago, I was given a rundown of everything that was new, including this new problem. I followed this malicious compliance currently in progress, none the wiser to what D was doing, pushing the orders without bleed into problem status, which was quite a fair amount to be honest. I didn't really think much about it, however. Towards the beginning of this month, D had asked me to scan in February's problem orders, easily 500 orders, ensure each problem was its own separate file, then file them in a filing cabinet out back. I have read/listened to horror stories about office scanning, but I don't really have an issue where I am as we have a high capacity, automated scanner, so this was no issue. I did as I was told. In the folder they told me to put it in on the shared computer and then went to file it. There were over thousands of problem orders stuck in limbo due this bleed issue in this filing cabinet. Not only did this likely make us look bad to head office, but the customers were probably pissed. When I asked D what was going on with this issue, he explained everything, and informed me of his plan. It turned out IT intended to do nothing about this bleed problem. They wanted us as production to fix the problem, which meant designing. The design team gets paid a lot more than we in production though, and as we weren't being paid that wage, D was having none of it. He was told each week to send in all orders that haven't been fixed as of yet, so he was. D and the supervisor created a program that would submit each problem order as a ticket to IT, one at a time, at the end of the week. Previously, they had sent everything in as one ticket. This is why they had me scan each problem order as its own file, rather than just a single PDF with everything in it. This program ran on Friday, late afternoon, just before its weekend started. D knew IT needed to acknowledge all problem tickets before they left the office. Every 15 seconds a new problem ticket popped up and they needed to acknowledge it, all 500 files, before they left. I don't know exactly how well it worked, but it certainly worked. 2 hours, 5 minutes after hours at least, depending how fast their PCs are. I did the math, and that's only the stuff that I scanned myself. From my understanding, D and supervisor had also decompiled the files they had already submitted and resubmitted them as well. After the first week the regional manager, who is a really cool guy, we'll call him Ray, stopped by to check in and asked why IT was cursing D's name and D explained it. Ray said, in no uncertain terms, if they haven't done anything about the jobs by the end of the week, you should follow up. Wink. At the end of last week, D set up the program to ask for updates on each of the problem jobs, as well as the program to submit new problem jobs from last week, and set it to run. When we came in this Monday we got an update from IT that the system has been adjusted, and customers should not be able to submit jobs anymore that do not have borders meeting the bleed line. We still have some issues as reorders can override this fix, but it's been a lot better now and this week has been extremely productive. D, meanwhile, came into his email having over 20 unread messages, and over 500 junk mail as the spam filter kicked in. Each message was the program's response asking for an update, with the first few responses from IT being "we are still looking into it" and the later responses simply being the letter A. There is still the matter of the orders still stuck in limbo, so there may be an update, but the main compliance has been settled. Edit 1. The reason why this problem was not fixed before was all the other locations were doing workarounds to fix the problems themselves. We were the only location making a stink about the issue as the workaround was outside the scope of our paycheck, so it was considered low priority. Still does not excuse them, but they changed their tune in the end.